What's up YouTube? Kilthy here with another Outriders video. Today we're going to be talking about achieving Accolade level 21 before the launch of the full game. However, before we do anything else, I want to invite you guys personally to come hang out with us on Twitch. We've got a very interactive community, and as of late, we've actually been doing some very fun, in-depth theory crafting, and it's been extremely enlightening to learn so much. A lot of people in the community know so much, and our information is compiling together. I think you guys would enjoy what we've been working on. We've been constructing build libraries. We've been looking at different combos and how mods interact with one another. It's extremely informative, so I think you guys would really enjoy that. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check that out. As always, subscribing and liking the video helps me keep the content coming out. Let's just jump right into it. Okay guys, to be as considerate of your time as possible, I thought it best to lay a foundation for this video by dividing accolades into two different types, passive and deliberate. Passive accolades, such as most of the combat accolades, are easily obtained while farming for legendaries or farming other accolades. These are accolades that you don't force you to go out of your way to be obtained, whereas deliberate accolades, obviously, kind of force you off your natural path or rhythm to obtain them, such as Hunt the Prey or Feed the Flames from the Pyromancer. Of all the combat accolades, there's probably one that would be considered deliberate, and that is the Coup de Grace Deliverer accolade. Fortunately, I've already uploaded an entire other video on how to solo this. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check that out. One more point worth mentioning. Passive and deliberate accolades, I've decided to divide into location and class. I'm going to introduce the most efficient locations for accolade farming, and then we're going to go through each class and show you each accolade and where to do it in the most efficient manner possible. When I achieved 21, I checked all locations and I found the most dense areas or the easiest areas to achieve certain accolades. I'll also be showing you which mods to use if necessary and the routes that you should be taking and giving you hints along the way. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the first location I'm going to show you guys, and there's only 3 by the way. This one's called Hound's Basement. You get to it by selecting the story point that I just showed you, and then you come over here and get a side quest from Dr. Chang called Payback. Skip this cutscene, and then you're going to run down several flights of stairs over here to the right, and I'll show you. I want to take this time also to kind of tell you guys that the passive accolades, most of the combat accolades, can be achieved by rerunning the side quest or any of these locations that I'm going to show you. Completely. These are all insane passive accolade grinds. Okay, so the second location I'm going to show you is called what I call Melee Alley. I dubbed it myself because I think it's very applicable. You get to it by selecting the story point that I just showed you, and you're actually going to run all the way up here to talk to Shira. After you talk to Shira, I'm going to show you exactly where to go. This is probably the best area to get a lot of passive accolades, especially anything with a certain type of gun. If you run this entire point all the way to the end of Melee Alley, you get a lot per run. So the third area that I'm going to show you is probably the one that we're all most familiar with, which is the Terra Inferna. And even though I've probably run this for legendaries close to 3,000 times, I sometimes forget how to get the side quest. So when you log in, if you were on a different story point, you see how I'm going back to the door a second time? I have to accept the side quest, which is called Shattered Front. So make sure that after you load into the story at this point, you go up there and talk to Shira, and then you go back in and talk to her once more. From here, we can go down here and fast travel to Crossroads, and then run over to the bridge, and we're there. Now that we got the locations down, we're going to move on to classes, and first up is the Trickster. The Trickster's first accolade that we're going to look at is the Temporal Blade, and it requires you to get 1,000 kills using a Temporal Blade. Now this is the final part of Melee Alley. As you can see, this is properly named. These are the mods that I use to help get this done as quick as possible. You obviously want to bypass everybody, run up here as best you can, and try to bottleneck them at the top here. You can see that I'm kind of kiting them in such a way to let some of the stragglers get up here. And because of the mod Slasher, I'm able to cast this twice. What you want to be careful about is to make sure and not kill everybody. You want to leave 1 or 2 up so that you can die, rinse, and repeat. So now we're in Hound's basement, and we're going to be doing twisted rounds. Unfortunately, I did not have an additional mag for my twisted rounds, which is a mag that I'm sure a lot of tricksters have. I only had the twisted rounds, Twisted Fate mod, which allowed me to have a crit damage. So if you notice, my world tier is at 1. I've sped this up to kind of show you the path that I ran, but if you would go through both of these rooms, you're getting close to 30 or 40 per run, maybe even more. It goes by really fast, especially in World Tier 1. Like I said, I didn't have an additional clip of twisted rounds. However, there's a perfect amount of enemies in the room with an LMG of a 100-round clip that you really only need 1 mag of twisted rounds to really accomplish this efficiently, because once you go past this checkpoint, your cooldowns are reset. So I've already popped twisted rounds. I've come into the next room, and I actually finished this perfectly with the amount of ammo left in my twisted rounds mag. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, so next up, we're going to be doing Slow Trap. Now, this is more of a passive accolade in the sense that you could really do this while farming for the captain, but I thought I would show probably the best area if maybe this is your last one you need and you just need to get this over with. This is what I found to be the best area. You could also try Hound's Basement, but right here it seems to be a little bit more than Hound's Basement in the sense that everybody's kind of out in the open, so it allows more projectiles to kind of get to you from further directions. Okay, and finally we have Hunt the Prey. This is another passive accolade, in a sense, but it requires 500, which I've seen passively not a lot of people are achieving 500. So what we're going to look at here is we're in the Melee Alley Room 1. Now I'm going to clear everybody but 1 person. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up teleporting behind that 1 person as often as I can. You obviously want the mods that I've shown on the screen to decrease the cooldown, and I even showed the skill tree that I had, which further decreases that cooldown. So now that I have 1 person left, what we're going to do, we're at World Tier 1, so we have no worry of him killing us. And we're just going to wait on the cooldown, which isn't too bad. I think it's around 10 seconds. And basically, we just do this over and over. And again, this is more something if you needed to just get this done, or this is the only thing you need left on your Trickster. And this is what I found to be the best way to do it. All right, so we're on to Devastator. First up, we're going to be looking at how to do Earthquake. Now, this is also Melee Alley. This is probably one of the best accolade farming areas in the game, and so that you can probably achieve most accolades right here, especially for classes. So the only mod that I have on increases my Earthquake length by 60%. It has a decently low cooldown, and I've shown the skill tree to show that I think I even lowered the cooldown just a little bit more there. So I get 2 hits out of this. And I did lower the world tier to 1 to make sure that I was able to kill them in 1 hit. And then when I'm ready to rinse and repeat, I just bump it back up to 5. They do more damage to kill me quickly. And there you go. Okay, so now we're looking at Gravity Leap. Now, this one was probably the most annoying of the Devastator accolades in the sense of purposely farming. So we're using the same area. Here are the mods that I have. It's actually just one, the Human Comet. It just increases the damage by 100, which I am at World Tier 5, so I thought that would be a little bit helpful. The tricky part here is that Gravity Leap cannot target something right below you. So you want to make sure that you target or position yourself so that you're able to hit most of the enemies in front of you. Now, a lot of times with this one, I found myself not getting a lot of kills per run. And then sometimes I would get almost all of them and leave 2 alive. Whichever one you get, just go with it there. Okay, so next we're going to handle both the Golem and Reflect accolades for the Devastator. Please note that you will need these specific Reflect mods to do this efficiently, and this will also work toward your 10 million damage in your Combat Accolade tree. There is a Golem mod that increases its duration by 1.5 seconds per enemy killed during its duration, initial duration. I sadly must have accidentally dismantled that, so I don't have that one to show. Another good point here is that doing this right here is actually going to allow you to accomplish Anomaly Wielder. So a lot of efficiency in this farm. I would have to say that the hardest part is to make sure you do not kill the entire room so that you can run this back to back to back. Okay, now we're on to Technomancer. Technomancer is unique in that all of their accolades can actually be multi-farmed while farming the legendaries here. So in this particular one, I am getting Blighted, I am working toward my Cryo, and I'm getting Pain Launcher kills. Now throwing the Cryo out right there, it may not seem like it does a lot, but it actually does over a period of a number of runs. It'll be a lot faster than you would think. I throw my Pain Launcher right here, I get about 5 or 6 kills, and like I said, as much as we farm Legos, this actually goes by pretty fast. Okay, so on this next run, I'm doing a different route so that I can focus more on my Scrapnel kills. This particular route that I run, I'm not getting a lot per run. However, I'm still farming for legendaries. I'm also working toward my Blighted rounds accolade as well. So it may not seem like it's a lot, but actually, with the efficiency of farming this here, instead of maybe saying going to Melee Alley, or which could still work if you just needed to get that over with, or Hound's Basement, is that I'm still going for Legos at the same time, so I think that this is better. So I left Pyromancer last for a reason, because it has a certain accolade that is probably the most grindy out of all of them. But right now we're going to look at Heatwave. This one is not too bad at all. We're once again here in Melee Alley. We're going to group them up just like we do for the other accolades. I'm using Tidal Wave and Ride the Wave, which actually allows me to cast Heatwave 3 times. So really anytime they're bottlenecked, you can hit this. And at World Tier 5, they shouldn't die from 1. So I'm able to get 2 ticks off of this group. And then right here, I see somebody further behind me. So I decided to hit these guys 1 more time just to get more ticks. This is probably one of the fastest accolades that you can achieve for Pyromancer. Okay, so now we're doing Thermal Bomb. Thermal Bomb is interesting and a little bit mechanically heavy. It only requires 750 kills. However, there is a better way to do it depending on what mods you have. The most important mod is going to be Ash Grasp, which inflicts an ash on enemies within a 5-meter radius of the enemy about to explode. The key here is that you want to put Thermal Bomb on an enemy that you're able to gun down pretty quickly. I kind of get caught up here, but luckily it worked out for me, and this happens in and out depending on the run you do. You're going to have good ones and bad ones, but I was able to get him down, and you can see that I only had 2 enemies left, and at World Tier 5, they're going to drop my health down really fast, and they were able to move on. Okay, now we're looking at Overheat. And once again, we are in Melee Alley. This requires 1,000 statuses to be consumed. The good thing about this is that it's probably one of the faster, I should say, accolades here because of Overheat's damage. Once we get them grouped up, we want to make sure that we are getting the most use out of Overheat without killing everybody as possible. I still can cast 2 Heat Waves to make sure that I get as many dots as I can, or statuses, I should say. And then we cast it right here. There's still a certain amount left, but that's fine. That just means they kill us quicker, and we rinse and repeat. Now, this is the grind. 100k damage siphoned using Feed the Flames. One thing to point out here is Feed the Flames does not count if your health is full. You have to actually increase the health in your health bar for this to actually register. So this is probably the best area to do this in, and you could do it in the next room as well too. I found that if I did both of these rooms in Hound's basement, I got about 3K per run. You just want to make sure and time it right to where you have as least amount of health as possible before you cast. Another reason this room is great is because there's a lot of cover that I can run to so that I'm not constantly getting fired. Clearing the room using strictly Feed the Flames does take a little bit of time, and I do end up killing breachers because they're the only ones that will walk around corners and ruin my entire route. So I go ahead and kill those, get those out of the way, and then I just keep kind of bouncing back and forth waiting on this cooldown, and it worked really well. Okay, so there you guys go. I know I didn't go over every single accolade in the game, and that's because a lot of them are passive. You can do them by just doing the full melee run if it's a gun accolade or whatnot. But if you handle the class accolades and all of the combat accolades, you will passively get your 10 million damage, and that will give you enough points to get to level 21. I hope you guys found this video useful. Until next time.